I'm actually reading this is a court decision, a transcript for of a proceeding by the Honorable Samuel B. Kent. Yeah, here in Texas, believe it or not. This is about somebody who just couldn't handle prayer at graduation. And let me just quote a little bit of the transcript here. This is what the judge said. And let me tell you, the court will allow that prayer in a typical non-denominational way, which we can refer to God or the Almighty or that sort of thing. The prayer must not refer to any specific deity by name, whether it's Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad or the great god Shiva or anybody else. And make no mistake, I'm quoting, the court is going to have the United States Marshal in attendance at graduation. And any student that offends this court, that student will summarily be arrested and face up to 6 months incarceration in the Galveston County Jail, boy. Anybody who violates these orders, no kidding, is going to wish that he or she had died as a child when this court gets through them. When did we stop impeaching judges? If you say Jesus in a prayer at graduation, you're going to wish you would have died as a child? I just love the new American court system, don't you? Yeah, if we could just stamp out God, we'd be great. At some point, we're going to look back, because we have a tendency of doing this. We look back on history and we have kind of this self-righteous attitude. We stand around and we say, oh my goodness, how did those baboons not see it coming? I mean, how did these idiots miss all of the things that were tipping them off the disaster was going? Oh, a mighty good year. How did they miss it? Well, let's find out the answer right now, okay? We're missing it right now as a society. We have been given a great and tremendous gift, and we are blowing it. And most people haven't the faintest clue. They're like, yeah, what movie's coming out this weekend? I got a mouse in my pocket, George. We were born into freedom, and we have lost appreciation for how rare and fragile it truly is. Anyone warning about the loss of freedom, they're mocked, they're ridiculed, because people can't fathom life without the freedoms that we have. It's impossible to believe that we could lose it. Heaven knows how to put a proper price upon its goods, and it would be strange indeed if so celestial an article as freedom should not be highly rated. Thomas Paine, The Crisis. If we don't stand up and stand together and stand behind the shield of faith, 100 years from now, hell, 20 years from now, people will be reading history and asking the same question. It will be our children that will say, what was wrong with them? The evidence is plenty, and we've shown much of it to you this week. The attacks on faith are breathtaking. They've been heating up just a little bit, huh? And there's more. We've got the latest for you. Remember when we talked about how Obama rewarded the grads who worked for 10 years in government by forgiving their student loans? Just work for the government for 10 years. Come on, be a zombie slave. They sold it under the premise that those who are serving into the community are going to get less salary. No, they're not. No, they're not. The government's paying more than, the private sector. Anyway, that was the premise that everybody's like, yes, the government service thing, that's a good idea. Zombies. The government's going to reward that service. Today we learned that if you work for a non-profit and your duties include religious instruction, any kind of worship service, or any kind of form of saying Jesus, you're not qualified to have your loan forgiven. Let me translate. Jesus forgives, but the government doesn't. Atheists have continued to mobilize, and instances of manufactured outrage have increased. These guys are amazing. They say they can make it without God. Geez, what a bunch of weenies these guys are. The minute you say God, they're like, I can't take it. The latest offense incident, if you will, happened in North Carolina. If you have small children, bring them close to the TV. I'm going to show something shocking. This is in Newland, North Carolina. The atheists are up in arms over a shocking and horrifying public display. Warning, kids, get a little closer. Yeah, you're going to get cancer or whatever, eye cancer, whatever my mom said you'd get, but here it is. Look. It's the 10 Commandments, isn't it? Yes, a 10 Commandment plaque right there on the wall. And the atheists claim that's government trying to establish religion. No! And we would have gotten away with it, too, if it wasn't for those crazy kids in the mystery van. They got us. The most efficient way I know of to convert people to Christianity or Judaism, whichever, is to put a plaque in a side hallway of a government building. Because I know I'll be walking to go get, something. I'm pissed off that I got to go with my driver's license. I'm walking along. I go, whoa, wait a minute, the 10 Commandments. I never thought of that. I should go join a church. Really? Yeah. Don't let the atheists know. But the next thing we'll do is we'll start putting in stained glass windows with a crucifix in the maintenance closet. We'll get all of those ACLU people and the SCIU people, get those janitors in no time. Want to see their letter? Here's the letter. Freedom From Religion Foundation. I didn't read that in any of the documents. Freedom From Religion. Basically it says, if the plaque doesn't come down, they vowed to keep on fighting. I'm not going to, because a fight requires two sides. And I don't really think this one's worthy of a fight, because it's not really, there's nothing to fight about. The 10 Commandments are just fact. What do we have to fight about? Which part, atheists? Which commandment do you disagree with? Is it thou shalt not kill? Because some of you crazy atheists at the Occupy Oakland should hear that one. How about thou shalt not covet? Occupy Wall Street needs to hear that one too. Which religion are we indoctrinating people in? Is it Judaism or is it Christianity? Which one? Which one? I want to know. I believe we're all pretty good with the 10 Commandments. I think even Allah might weigh in on this one and say, bing, 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 I'd take a bullcrap for 1,000, Alex. Yes, the answer is, this really has nothing to do with faith. Oh, sorry, it is what has nothing to do with faith? The 10 Commandments. Civilization was built on everything in those 10 Commandments. This is about civilization and ending civilization. That's what it is. Not about getting anybody to go to church. Civilization. This one also will probably go over well with Catholics and pastors everywhere. There's a new update on this one. It's church confessions. You know church confessions. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been decades since I've been to confession. Now, the long-standing rule is this. No minister of the gospel or priest of any denomination whatsoever, duly accredited Christian Science practitioner, shall be allowed to disclose any confessions made to him in his professional character in the course of discipline enjoined by the rules and practice of such denomination. In other words, you go tell your priest something and it's confidential between the two of them. That's the way it's always been. Okay? But that's about to change. I'm sorry. That's about to fundamentally transform. The merits of that whole priest keeping your secrets are now being debated right now in the Michigan Court of Appeals. A pastor testified about somebody he claims confessed to him about sexually assaulting a child. Obviously a horrible case. We all want justice to come to any dirtbag who assaults a child, and we all want it to stop. But progressives are always thinking 2 steps ahead. You take a case where everybody wants to, deeply wants to say, you know, screw the rule here, the kid got molested. I think we should probably pipe down about that. Lots of emotion. The doorway to fundamental transformation. Look. All of a sudden we find ourselves in a room not being able to speak to our pastors or our priests in confidence. Hey, let me ask anybody who's covering this story if they thought this one through yet. If anybody else has asked this one, is the Psychiatric Association saying that patient-client privilege shouldn't exist? Because that would really hurt their profession, wouldn't it? Hey, I know if the patients can say stuff to their doctors and their doctors have to say it to the government, What about this? How about the attorney-client privilege? Because then we just know who the bad guys are. Did your client say he was guilty? Uh-huh. Guilty. After we take the medical doctors, of course, we can't trust them. They are cutting the feet off of people and ripping the tonsils out of little Tommy who didn't need it just for an extra $25. And the attorneys. Once we get rid of the attorney-client privilege and the attorneys are all for it, then let's head over to the church. What do you say? I shouldn't say that because these madmen will probably do it. This president promised fundamental transformation. Here it is.
We will not just win this general election. We will change the course of history and light a new torch for change in this country. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world. We will win this election. We will change the course of history, and the real journey to heal the nation and repair the world will have truly begun.
Ooh, to repair the world. Whoa, that's cool. He's a magician. Can I ask you why all politicians talk like this? Have you ever met anybody in real life who does this? And let me tell you another thing. I've never met anybody like that. Maybe it's just me. We got to get back to healing the world, which we're doing right now. Best way to heal it? Attack religion. We have the current attack on Catholic Church beliefs and institutions. But then don't forget, in 2009, as we're part of this fundamental change, the White House asked Georgetown to cover the monogram symbolizing the name of Jesus in the hall that Obama needed to use. He needed to talk. You can't have that Jesus thing behind him. Obama's former religious advisor, Sean Casey, said this. Watch.
There is also a negative underside to that history with respect to slavery, to manifest destiny, to war, to empire. So I frankly am glad American civil religion is dying.
Yeah, that whole manifest destiny thing, that was the church. Oh, no, wait. That was a giant government guy on our $20 bill who I hate almost as much as Wilson, Jackson. Jackson, perverting religious belief. Manifest destiny. It's not the individual churches, if I'm not mistaken. It was the individual churches and the people of faith that stopped all of the abuses. It always is. That's why you've got to crush the church. Because if you crush the churches and you crush individuals' faith, then they have nothing to stop out of control, manifest destiny, Andrew Jackson kind of governments. Oh, the totalitarian rule is coming. Are you awake yet? How about your neighbors? The Obama administration refused to give Catholic institutions grants to help the needy. You know why? Pro-life. You say you want to help the needy, but you won't kill babies? What kind of sense does that make? Obama and Hillary, they talk constantly about the freedom of worship. Let's avoid carefully the freedom of religion. Watch.
We're a nation that guarantees the freedom to worship. These freedoms of expression and worship.
They must be free to worship and worship freely.
Yeah. He, of course, has recited the Declaration of Independence. Watch him noodle this one. I'm telling you, because every word out of that man's mouth is on a teleprompter. He is calculating, I can't say those words. Watch him recite about the Creator in the Declaration of Independence.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men are created equal.
Can't say it.
Endowed with certain inalienable rights. Life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness.
Either that or he's on some strange Mussolini drug where he looks like Mussolini. But then he gets sleepy and he's like, I'm sleeping. I don't know. I think he's editing it out. He also lit the menorah on the wrong day and then demeaned Jews, I think, by saying, we don't need to have a good excuse to have a party here in the White House. And boy, that's true. Watch.
So while it is not yet Hanukkah, let's give thanks for our blessings.
Joe Biden.
For being together to celebrate this wonderful holiday season. And, we never need an excuse for a good party.